Back in 1998, I came to Japan for the first time on a working holiday visa from Sydney, Australia. That was about 27 years ago. I can't believe how quickly time has flown. I have some experiences from back then, which are going to be the topic of this video, and that is Japanese words and expressions that start coming to you naturally after a while, like a reflex action. You don't even have to think about them, you don't have to translate anything, they just start coming out. And I think that was a big turning point for me, where I started to feel like, oh, this language learning and this Japanese is going to come naturally to me. I'm going to be able to speak it fluently like never before. By the way, if you want to learn a little bit more about how I started learning Japanese and, my history with the language, you can click on this video here and learn about my Japanese language learning journey. So I actually, just briefly, I started studying when I was about 12 years old in high school in Sydney, Australia, and I continued all the way to year 12. And then I came to Japan in 1998 on that working holiday visa. All right, back to the story. So after about a couple of months working at this construction site, I actually started saying Japanese words automatically. Things like ouch, hot, cold, I'm tired, I'm buggered. What else was there? Things like, what the hell are you talking about? You idiot. And that one probably came because people would say that to me so often that it sort of became natural for me to hear it. And then I just started repeating it. These guys were actually in shock because after about 3 months, I actually started giving back to them what they had been dishing out to me for the last 2 or 3 months. So be careful if you're mean to people, because sometimes they can learn the language and use it back on you when they start learning how to use the words. So I actually got really interested and I started asking around, and I asked Paul at X-Chapter and Tracy at Weekly Fascination. By the way, look those guys up and follow them if you don't know them already. They do really cool content about Japanese culture and stuff as well. And they also have words that they automatically say. And I think we all have different words, although there might be some overlap with some words. Things like, ne, adding ne at the end of sentences, I think is one that I often hear. And I think it's something that is just so easy to use and to just add at the end of every sentence almost. So that's one that I hear quite often. But for me, it was like, with adjectives that end in I, they're called I adjectives. There are I adjectives and there are na adjectives in Japanese. If you're a learner of the language, you'll know what I'm talking about. If not, don't worry about it too much. It's just two different categories of adjectives. But with the adjectives that end in I, you just drop the last I and it becomes like an emphasized version of the adjective. So words like samui, which mean cold, you just say samu. Or if it's hot, atsu. It's normally atsui and it becomes atsu. Itai is one that I often used back then when I hit my finger with a hammer, or when I hit my clumsy feet somewhere on a piece of furniture. Is the proper full word is itai, and it becomes ita if you hit yourself, right? So there are all these words that just started coming naturally to me. I also started dreaming in Japanese at that point. I remember that, and it totally freaked me out. I remember waking up one morning going, oh my God. Like, I don't remember what the dream was about. I mean, I have difficulty remembering what yesterday's dream was about. So I don't remember the dream, but I just remember waking up one morning and going, I just had a dream in Japanese. That was the weirdest experience. And another thing that would happen is that whenever I was speaking to my family on the phone back in Australia, occasionally a Japanese word would slip in. And there's a word for this, actually. There was a book I was reading this year called Bilingual, Life and Reality, by a guy named Francois Grosjean. And he talks about this. I think it's code switching or something. There's a name for it, a technical name for it. And you accidentally slip in words from the other language. And it happens. A lot of weird stuff happens in your brain when you're that immersed in a language and you just constantly 24/7, it's like just Japanese, Japanese, Japanese. Your brain actually starts thinking in Japanese. It's an amazing feeling. And I think that's the breakthrough point. That's where you sort of go, you know what? I think I'm starting to get it. And things just start flowing a lot smoother from that point. They did for me. And I want to say at this point, by the way, whatever I talk about in my videos, it's usually just my experience. And so I don't want you to take this as everyone, has this, or everyone has to have this experience. It's just my experience. But I can't say that every single time I say something. So just keep that in mind whenever I'm talking about something like this. So yeah, that was my personal experience, and I just thought it was a fantastic turning point for me. And I think, if you hang in there long enough, or if you put yourself in a situation like that, an environment where you're surrounded by the language 24/7, I think it's inevitable that you'll reach that point. And it's a really good feeling. I encourage you to sort of, keep a notebook, or use your hands, use your senses to engage your brain a bit more instead of just relying on apps. Apps are great, don't get me wrong, but they have their place, and notebooks are also great. And so make sure you use both and use them wisely. Paper dictionaries are also pretty good, I reckon, in my opinion. Obviously, if you don't have time, use an electronic one. But if you have the time and you're serious about your study and you want to improve and you want to have the best possible memory retention, I highly recommend using a paper dictionary and taking notes by pen and paper. It made a big difference for me. That's why I'm sharing it. But so that's about it. Paul and Tracy, they shared their automatic words that came to them after a while in Japan. I'll just bring up the list. I have it here. Okay, sorry, I'm going to be looking at the screen every now and then so I can read this. So for me, it was atsu, samu, ita. Nani shitennen was another one that I used to do quite a bit. It's Osaka dialect for what the hell are you doing? Nani shitennen or nani shitonnen. Either of these will work. A different version that means what the hell are you talking about is nani yutennen or nani yutonnen. Nandeanen is like, why the hell? Like, yeah, just why the hell? Nandeanen. Ahoka, ahoya. Ahoka is like, are you crazy? Are you an idiot? Ahoya is like, you're an idiot. These are interesting words, by the way. Aho means stupid or foolish, but in Kanto, like Tokyo and stuff, it's got like a more serious meaning. You can't jokingly use it really in Tokyo, whereas in Osaka, I used to hear this word like 100 times a day. People say it to each other, they say it to me, I say it to them. It's just like one of the most commonly used words where I was at. And it's just like, like when you're mucking around or joking around with your friends and you go, oh, you idiot, and you're laughing and it's like a friendly idiot. You're not actually calling the person a real idiot. So that used to come out quite a bit, actually. Ahoka, ahoya, when you're laughing or something. Tsukareta is another one that used to just come out, it means, oh, I'm exhausted, I'm tired. Tsukareta. It would just come out. So that's my list. And I probably have others, but, just a quick list. Paul at X Chapter, he said his words are maji, which means seriously, tashikani, which means certainly or of course, and nanda korya. Or nanda sorya. It's like, what the hell is this? Or what the hell is that? And oi, or nani ittendayo, which means like, what the hell are you saying? Like, similar to the one that I said in Osaka be, nani yutennen, that kind of thing. Tracy at Weekly Fascination told me a list of 4 words that he uses. E and uso. E is just an expression used when you're surprised. Uso means no way, like you're lying, BS. And oishii and umai, and they both mean delicious or tasty. So we all have different words that come naturally to us, and I'd love to hear what yours are. If you have lived in Japan for a while, tell me about the first words that you remember sticking and just coming out like a reflex. I think we've all got them. And I just love hearing everyone's stories because sometimes you hear really funny ones or odd ones, and they're always interesting to hear about. Okay, well, that brings us to the end of the video, and that means it's time for word of the day. Today's word of the day is going to be related to the construction site I was working at when I first came here, and the word is gemba. Gemba is actually a really handy word to know in Japanese, and if you're a business person or you've studied Japanese business practices, things like kaizen, you probably know the word. And in the context of construction, we used to use that word to describe the actual location where we were working. It's like, I forgot my hammer somewhere. Where is it? It's at the gemba. It just means it's at the work site. So it's a very handy word to know. And that's why I chose that one for today's word of the day. Okay, that's it for today's video. I hope to see you at the next one, where I'll be doing a little kind of a response video or adding my own stories to the topic of what Paul spoke about in his most recent video, which is titled Why I Chose a Normal Life in Japan Over Returning to America. When I was watching his video, I actually remembered a lot of things about what I feel about this topic, and I have some stories that I want to share as well. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that just came up when I watched it. I hope to see you at the next video, and if you'd like to support my channel, please subscribe and like the video and tell your friends about it as well. Bye for now.